Yes, I'm back. This is track 2. I would call track 2. It's still June the 6th. I mean June the 26th, and it's Sunday, and I'm out here. And I was in the first track. I spoke about um, the cancer and how it took away my life, and where I were and how I escaped through my art. And I went over a few things about different variety of small topics, but I was talking about economic oppression and what it is, and I ended up on us having a black president, okay, and what people expect of us as being the candidates in our society, and people got to realize, as I was stating before I shut off the first time, was that this is the first black president of the United States of America, okay, and by Mr. President Obama being the first black president, well, then that makes him kind of like our pride and joy. Whether he's the best in the sight of others or not. And I understand the philosophy, I understand the hopeful psychology um, of such theologies and psychologists that make these suggestions that, we are to overlook the fact that he's the first black president and look at what's best for the country. Him being the first black president is the best for this country. There's no need, no one trying to go into denial of that. Regardless of how bad some may hate that he is the first black president, that's the best thing that ever happened to this United States of America. Because as I stated the first time, was that I can't change anything that's behind me, okay, by just taking the first step off. So therefore, we can't change the fact of what happened in this country, but it took that to build this super nation. I don't hear no white Americans speaking like they're from London, England. I don't hear no white Americans speaking like they're from the British Isles. They got a broken Latin, a language that they created over here, okay? And we definitely don't speak nothing but what we was taught, okay? Our blood is all intermingled. We don't know who we relatives are. We don't even know who we are, to be honest. We marry our own relatives, and we were bred in incest, and the incest can always continue because once it occurred, it can't be undone. The genetics is there, the proven scientific facts and theories are there. Oh man, my neighbor just pulled in. Thank you, Jesus. I'm at my neighbor's pond, one of my friends' ponds, about 10, 12 miles away, and I'm out here fishing in this place. You got a stock pond here, and I sit up out here and I paint. But anyway, back to our president. I'm proud and extraordinarily, exceedingly glad that we have the first black president of the United States, in spite of. See, it's like this. Time in history is the painting of a nation. History is this here. History is this art. How it paints the times and captures the times. And our art started when we came into the understanding from will, from reason, and our minds were transformed, and we began to draw on caves, hieroglyphics, forms of art, to start painting that picture of time. And men like our president and people like ourselves, the unknowns of society, sometimes get caught up by a scar, an engraving, or some old painting or sketching, or an anthropologist and archaeologist finds some fossil engraved in a stone where some fish died, or some foot reserved when walking beside a dinosaur. And it's the art of the times. We are the art of time. We are the art of time. The human being is the art of time. We were created, they say, slightly below the angels and just above the animals. So that gives us our intellectual ability. Our intelligence is what makes us, like they say, gods. Are we? So I escape in my art. Listen. Oh God, isn't that lovely? So when we go to talking about our President Obama, we got to use our most conceptual intellect and our intellectual abilities to be able to accept the unacceptable in the minds of many. You must be able, because what is. A fact is a fact. And you can change many things, but you can't change a fact. Regardless of how you would want to. Regardless of how bad you would love to. Fact is a fact. And the fact is you can't change the fact that a fact is a fact. So we'll utilize our uttermost inner ability to scar time, men like President Obama and Michelle Obama and their children, men like us that sits out on the creek at somebody's old lonely pond, sit down with some terminal illness and look through the grim picture in the window of life, and we would say to ourselves, at least I say to myself, I'm glad about it. I live to be 57 years of age, and I'm glad about it. I'm going to die. Oh, I can't say I'm so glad about it. But by me knowing about it, my intellectual ability tells me, might as well to be content and wait on time to come, even though time wait upon no man. All I have, as I'm showing you in this painting, this drawing, this sketch, turn gray. What shall we do? What can we do? What can we do? There's not that much we can do. See, God is good. He allowed us to have the first black president in the United States at a time of crisis. The man went out and did something no others could do. He went out and got Bin Laden. He was withdrawing the troops from Afghanistan, even though he was handing off a broke nation. All the big shots pulled their money out simply because of the black man over the United States. Nobody don't want to admit that. But as soon as their terminology is that black man, that end man, got to be president of our country, tell you what let's do, boys. Let's pull our money off the market and give him a broke nation, and let's see what he do with that. They bailed out the big banks, and the banks took the money and ran. Guys got $1 million, 15, 20 million bucks to retire, to wait for the 8 years so they can come back blasting. Meantime, all the little peoples is suffering and not holding up America. Like the old song says, they got to hold up the old bloodstained banner. They got to hold it. Sometimes they have to moan, and sometimes they have to cry. But they got to hold it up, that old bloodstained banner, and they going to hold it up until they die. And I'm going to sure hold mine. Even though I got a malignant, terminal, lethal esophageal cancer with no stomach, no pancreas. And I'm going to hold this old bloodstained banner. And I'm going to hold it up until I die. And I'm not going to permit cancer to kill me. Even if I died as a result of it, it wasn't permitted, boss. Simple as that. So I'm going to look forward to living and to do whatever I can to promote. I wanted to promote prosperity for the small business guy. So I go out and I stand before the city council and I call them down as the good old boys. You know, I represent the Black Business Association as old traditional name. I'm not kidding about that. But I represent the small business people, the ones that's not in the cliques. Here in Lowndes County, we got a good old boy network. Been all white power structure for 151 years, and that's pathetic. 58% of the city is black, 38% of the whole county is black, and then we add in Hispanics and all the other foreigners and everyone that's here, and the people that don't have that kind of mentality. We ain't got no business not having we don't even have one service station. Not even one service station. They used to call them filling stations. Don't even have not one. And can't get any loans from no banks. We need This is a sermon to investors to come here and help take Valdosta, take it out of the hands of these people. Help us to help ourselves. We don't mind working, but we just can't get none of the federal aid dollars and contracts. Trying to work with Washington, and got a response from Mr. Michael Blake. But only got one response, and he's gonna get back with us because see how their colleagues going to do to address this issue, answer these questions. But it's not really no questions to answer.
2 more minutes.
The deal is that we are economically oppressed. We are going through a crisis in the nation, but it's the little unseen people that holds up this big ball, that do all the work for the big rich guys, that do all the ditch digging, that cause the water main to be laid, that do all the road markings, that cause the street lanes. We asking our president to invest in us, the little people, by investing in the ghetto areas and putting the money in the banks and using a direct system that can be monitored, simplified, not this HUD zone stuff. HUD is good, but you got to be poor. You can't have anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut this off now, and we'll get back on the economical press at a later date and later time as I come out to work on my work. And this is a portrait of my wife and I, and this is what I've done so far. All I did was the eyes and eyebrows and put a few shadows in. And I hope you enjoyed this, but I love my art. This is my escape. I'm not going. Any of you that got cancer out there, stay encouraged. It can't kill us. Till next time, this is Doc Ghetto Child.